Today's injury report with Cape Regional Health System and Dr. Kevin McHale with Penn Orthopedics and Cape Regional, the best of both worlds for a healthier life. For an appointment, call 609-463-CAPE or visit caperegional.com/orthopedics. We've got maybe a career-altering type of injury this week, and we bring the doctor in to talk a little bit about it. Doc, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Happy to be on.
Yeah, man, and we missed you last week. We had a couple of injuries that we tried to break down ourselves because we all stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. You know what happens when you do that, right? Tua, obviously, this is the injury that everybody is talking about, diagnosed with a dislocated hip and posterior wall fracture. As according to the team orthopedic surgeon, the dislocation was immediately reduced at the stadium. So kind of take us through what happens in that situation and what his future could be, because I've heard a lot of people compare this to the Bo Jackson injury.
Yeah, so this is a very, very severe injury, unfortunately, and with a guy in college at his level, where he's a potential number one overall draft pick, to have a career-altering injury like this, it's really unfortunate. So what a fracture dislocation is when that ball dislocates out of the ball and socket joint of your hip joint. And we typically see this in car accidents, right? You can imagine somebody sitting in the front seat of a car and it gets in a head-on collision that the dashboard drives impacts into the front of the knee there and pushes the ball out the back of the socket. That's the kind of force that you need for this to happen, and it happened with a couple of Mississippi State defensemen. But when that force drives the ball out of the socket, two things happen. One, it can take a chunk of the socket with it, and that's what that posterior wall is. It's the back part of the hip socket. So it takes off a chunk of the wall. And the problem with that is there's cartilage there that's really important for your hip joint, and that puts somebody at risk for arthritis if it's not immediately fixed and repaired in a good way. And then also when that ball dislocates out, the blood supply to that ball can be compromised and can be damaged. So it's really important to pop that hip right back in to try to maintain the good blood supply to that femoral head. Luckily for Tua, they were able to do that right at the field. It can be a really difficult reduction. Sometimes you need general anesthesia to do this, and sometimes people get sedated in the hospital. So the fact they're able to get it in right away at the stadium is great news for him because restore that blood flow to that ball. And then ultimately he ended up having a surgery where they likely use some combination of plates and screws to reconstruct that back wall of the hip socket to get him back to his normal anatomy. It's going to be a big, lengthy recovery. And the reason why they keep comparing him to Bo Jackson is Bo Jackson had a similar injury, but his problem was that blood supply to his femoral head was compromised, and it led to arthritis at a very young age, and he ended up getting a total hip replacement, which ended his career. So the fact that it got popped in very quickly, the fact that they're able to do the surgery to reconstruct the joint, hopefully he does not have that complication, and that's not his outcome. But it is a real possibility, so we'll have to wait and see.
So is this something that, if you're a doctor and you're talking to him, is this something that maybe he goes back to school to kind of recover from, or does he, is this something that wouldn't hurt his draft status and stock?
So this is definitely something that's going to take a long, lengthy recovery. So with these types of fractures, after the surgery, you're not really allowed to walk on this, or at least, not full weight bearing for somewhere between 8 to 12 weeks. So, and then after that, they're just, gradually getting full weight bearing. And then, athletic activities can start somewhere between 4 to 6 months, and somewhere between 6 months and a year, you would expect that full return. So it's a very lengthy recovery, and it's absolutely going to affect what his decisions are as far as staying one more year or getting into the draft early. I would guess that he's probably going to not want to go through the draft this year until they sort out the issues with his hip and the heels, and he can get stronger. Wow. And then maybe delay. But we'll have to see what they decide.
Real quick, Jordan Howard, the Stinger. I had one of these when I was in high school, actually. He was limited in practice again, taking part in individual drills, but these Stingers can be pretty painful, and you feel like you're all right until that contact comes.
Yeah, the Stinger, they kind of come in two flavors. You either have the really quick one or the one that tends to linger. What a Stinger is, it's a temporary injury to the nerve, but it's like a little bruise to the nerve, either from direct impact or compression or a stretch. And most of these resolve in minutes, maybe hours, but they can lead to numbness and tingling going down the arm, some pain, and some weakness. When they don't resolve within the first 24 hours, they tend to linger a few weeks. And we're getting further out from Jordan's initial injury, so hopefully he's getting a little closer. But the fact that he's not cleared for contact yet likely means he's still having some persistent weakness, and they won't clear him until he's got full range of motion, full strength, and he's ready to go. So hopefully see him on the field soon, but the fact that we don't see him practicing yet isn't the best sign.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you lower that shoulder, you're almost wincing waiting for it to hurt again. It's one of those things that doesn't sound all that bad, but it is. Dr. Kevin McHale back with our injury report. Great stuff on Tua. And today's injury report brought to you by Cape Regional Health Systems and Dr. Kevin McHale with Penn Orthopedics. For the best of both worlds for a healthier life. For an appointment, call 609-463-CAPE or visit caperegional.com/orthopedics. All right, Doc. Well, hopefully Sunday brings us a upset victory, although the Eagles are favored in the game. And Thursday, we're talking about other players other than injured birds. Have a good weekend,
I
pal.
like that plan. All right. Hopefully we see him get back on track.
Yeah, man. Dr. Kevin McHale every week with the injury report here brought to you by our friends at Cape Regional Health System.